Hi guys, welcome back once again to Top Lesson for You. Dear students, as we are discussing about the blood supply of the pelvis, right? The previous lectures I discussed about the blood supply of the pelvis of the female and also the blood supply of the pelvis of the male up to some extent. I had told you that let me recap my previous lectures once again. That will be easy for you guys to understand this lecture while I relate this lecture to the previous lecture, right? So look carefully. I had told you that there is abdominal aorta. This abdominal aorta bifurcates into right and left common iliac arteries, right? And this common iliac artery will give off internal iliac artery and external iliac artery, and this external iliac artery will lead to the blood supply of the lower limb, and this internal iliac artery was responsible to supply blood to the pelvic region, right? So I had also told you this that this internal iliac artery will give off two trunks, the anterior trunk and the posterior trunk, right? So let us name them. This is our internal iliac artery, right? This is its this is the anterior trunk, right? Anterior trunk of internal iliac artery, which I have discussed in the previous lectures here, and this is its posterior trunk, right? This is posterior trunk. Now friends, we had discussed about 10 branches of this anterior trunk, and now we are going to discuss about the branches of this posterior trunk, right? So let me mention this diagram also here, right? Look carefully. This is our abdominal aorta. Then the abdominal aorta will give a right common iliac artery and a left common iliac artery. Then these iliac arteries will come down and they make external iliac artery and internal iliac artery. This external iliac artery will lead to the blood supply of the lower limb, and this internal iliac artery will supply the pelvis, either male or female, right? Now look carefully. This internal iliac artery has been bifurcated here, you can see, and it has given an anterior trunk and a posterior trunk. Clear, friends? So I have discussed about the branches of the anterior trunk of this internal iliac artery, and now I'm going to discuss about this posterior, the branches of this posterior trunk of the internal iliac artery, right? So let us discuss about the branches of the posterior trunk. Branches of posterior trunk. Posterior trunk of what? Posterior trunk of, internal iliac artery. Right, friends. So let us carefully discuss all these branches. This posterior trunk, friends, gives off 3 branches. This posterior trunk gives off 3 branches. Let me mention them here. It's just a rough diagram. I will draw the clear diagram here. There is a branch like this, right? And I will name it. And here is another branch. Clear, friends? And there is a third branch. So how many branches does this posterior trunk of an internal iliac artery gives? There are 3 branches. The first branch, which is very important branch, and that is called the iliolumbar branch, right? So the first branch is iliolumbar branch. I'm writing it with different colors because it has an importance, right? So iliolumbar branch. So it means that this iliolumbar branch will divide into 2 branches, the iliac branch and the lumbar branch, right? So look carefully. I have told you that this branch, this is the first branch of this posterior trunk of internal iliac artery, and this is called iliolumbar branch, and this branch gives off two further branches. Look carefully, two further branches. And what are those branches? Those are the iliac branch, right, and the lumbar branch. The iliac branch, and the lumbar branch. Okay, it's clear now. Its name mentions that iliac branch and lumbar branch, and I will show you in the diagram, don't worry. This iliac branch is responsible to supply blood to the iliacus muscle. Iliacus muscle. Right, friends? And this lumbar branch is responsible to supply blood to two important muscles, two important muscles, and those are the quadratus lumborum, right, quadratus lumborum, and the next branch that it supplies is the psoas major muscle. Right, so this iliolumbar branch gives off two branches, the iliac branch and the lumbar branch. The iliac branch will supply blood to the iliacus muscle, and the lumbar branch will supply blood to the quadratus lumborum and the psoas major. Now look carefully, I will show you here, right? This is the pelvic bone, right? This is the pelvic cavity. Here we have our abdominal aorta, right? This is our abdominal aorta, and this abdominal aorta will divide and form two common iliac arteries, right and left. In these common iliac arteries, one will give the right, or either the left will give external iliac artery and internal iliac artery, and this internal iliac artery will further give two branches, the anterior trunk and the posterior trunk. And from the posterior trunk here, there is an artery which bifurcates, which separates. If I keep it here, right, and I draw this iliolumbar artery, so this iliolumbar artery will be like this. Look carefully, friends. Right, okay. Okay, now look carefully. Here is our, for example, this point shows the posterior trunk of internal iliac artery. Now it gives a branch like this, right? And this branch comes superiorly, and here are our lumbar vertebrae. Here are our lumbar vertebrae, as you know. These are lumbar vertebrae. Now look, one branch goes towards the lumbar vertebrae, right? That's why we call it lumbar branch. And another branch comes like this here, and this branch is called the iliac branch, right? So the iliac branch will supply blood to the iliacus muscle. Here is our iliacus muscle, and the lumbar branch will supply blood to the quadratus lumborum, right? Here is a muscle, it is like this, quadratus lumborum muscle, right? And there is the psoas major muscle also. So this was our iliolumbar branch, right? Now the next branch from this artery, from this posterior trunk, is called the, that artery separates here from it and goes like this, right? It goes like this, and this is called the lateral sacral artery, right? And from this side also, right, friends? This is the point for the posterior trunk, right? And it gives off a branch like this. Okay, this is our iliolumbar branch. So this is its lumbar branch, and this will be its iliac branch, right? So this will supply the iliacus muscle, and this will supply the quadratus lumborum and the psoas major muscle, right? And from here another branch, and it comes like this, right, to the lateral borders of what? To the lateral borders of the sacral vertebrae, right, like this. So what is this branch? This is called the lateral sacral artery or branch. Lateral sacral artery or the branch. And this artery, look carefully, this artery, this lateral sacral artery will give two branches, and like this, look. There will be one its superior branch, right, and there will be its inferior branch. So how many branches does it give? It gives off two branches, the superior branch and the inferior branch, right? So there is superior branch, okay, and there is its inferior branch, right? This is its inferior branch. So look, this will be its inferior branch, and this will be its superior branch. Superior branch, right? So this superior branch is responsible to supply blood to the erector spinae muscle. Here is a muscle posteriorly which is present on the back side of the body here. So that is called erector spinae muscle. So let me write here. It is responsible to supply blood to erector spinae muscle, right? It supplies. Superior branch supplies the erector spinae muscle, and the inferior branch is responsible to supply blood to the erector spinae muscle, erector spinae, the piriformis muscle, and another muscle which is very important, right? So, okay, so inferior branch is responsible to supply blood to the erector spinae and piriformis muscle, right? This was about the lateral sacral artery. Okay, this is our lateral sacral artery. Lateral sacral artery. Very good, friends. Now there is a third branch, and this third branch is the very important branch, and that is called the superior gluteal artery. Superior gluteal artery, the third one. This superior gluteal artery, look carefully here. The superior gluteal artery, for example, this is the point of origin of posterior trunk. This is our posterior trunk, right? Let me hold my marker here. This is our posterior trunk. Now from this posterior trunk, the first branch goes like this. This is called iliolumbar branch, right? Then there is lateral sacral arteries, right? Lateral sacral arteries. And then there is another branch which comes posteriorly, right? Which comes posteriorly like this. And this is called superior gluteal artery, as here are the gluteal muscles. Look, this is the posterior side and this is the anterior side, right? So let me show you once again. Here my finger, this finger shows the posterior trunk, right? From it there is a branch which is called the iliolumbar branch, right? One branch comes to the ilium and other branch goes to the lumbar vertebrae, right? Then there is another branch and goes to the lateral sacral vertebrae, right? So that is called lateral sacral branch. And then there is another artery which separates from here and goes posteriorly to the greater sciatic notch. This is our greater sciatic notch. It comes like this. It comes like this, and at this point it divides into a deep branch and a superficial branch, right? So there is superior gluteal artery, and this artery is also the branch of this, you can see the posterior trunk of internal iliac artery. It goes like this posteriorly, and let me show you here. It goes posteriorly to the back of this iliac bone, right, to the posterior side of this iliac bone, and it then divides into superior branch and superior and deep branch, superficial and deep branch. Let me write here, it gives superficial and deep branches, right? And this artery is responsible to supply blood to some muscles, and those muscles are called those muscles are the, let me write it with black color, those muscles are gluteus maximus, gluteus medius, gluteus minimus, right? And there is the fascia which is present, that is called fascia lata, and also the piriformis muscle, right? So there is gluteus maximus muscle, gluteus medius muscle, gluteus minimus muscle, fascia lata, and piriformis muscle. So these are the branches of the posterior trunk of this internal iliac artery. I hope you understood all these branches and the branches of the anterior trunk also. So at here we are finished with the branches of the internal iliac artery. Now in the further lectures we will discuss about the branches of this external iliac artery, and we will complete the blood supply of the lower limb. So dear friends, if you like our lectures, please share these videos with your friends. Thank you so much.